All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. I want to talk in this lesson about how the elites of this world have analyzed all the previous captivities of the Israelites, and that's why in this modern time, right, or within the last 400, 500 years, man, the aim was to make us forget that we are Israelites, right? That was the aim, because through all their analysis of the previous captivities of the Israelites, they've understood that the one thing that always ended up making these Israelites escape out of the captivities that they was in was repentance, right? And feeling sorrow that they broke the covenant of Yahweh. So in order to keep them in captivity, they would have to make them forget who they were. And in making them forget that they were, give them a new name, right? That's what's happened in this world, man. And people can say, oh, how do you know? Well, how do you people know? Because I know I ain't black. But I've been called it way more times than I've been called an Israelite by people, though. But I know I ain't black. Because for starters, my skin's brown. So where this black thing came by is completely crazy. It's ridiculous, in fact. This is Psalm chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come on, let's cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That was the plan, right? Now, I ain't black. We ain't black. We ain't Latino. We ain't Native American. But I feel more of a connection if I speak to a so-called Native American, right? Than if I speak to a African man. And I'm not on about a West African. I'm on about them ones that look like they drink blood, man. I'm on about those ones that have the weird eyes, man. They have the weird eyes. They can jump high as hell. They got this skinny skeleton frame, but they'll be strong as hell. I want about them ones, them marathon running ones, man. We ain't the same as that. We ain't the same as that, man. I ain't met too many Jakes that want to become marathon runners. But I've seen plenty of Israelites that can do a fast 100-meter sprint, though. We ain't the same as those people, man. Our faces don't even look the same. To people that are outside of the nation, they might think the people look the same. Just like how if we're people that are outside of the nations of the Ammonites and the Moabites, or let me use earthly terms, the Japanese and the Chinese, Koreans, Filipinos, right? People that ain't part of those groups might think they all look the same, but among them, they'll be like, no, he's not me. He ain't me. And if you was to be around those people enough, you'd know they ain't them. But then really at the elite level, these people know the difference. They know that we ain't the same. And that's why in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, it even says under Ham, right, that he's the progenitor of the black races, not the Negroes. So who's the progenitor of the Negroes then? It's either Japheth or Shem. And we know it's Shem. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. So many people, man. All these elites of this nation, they analyzed the captivities that we previously was in, and they came to a conclusion, man, that we gotta make these people forget who they are, right? And they called us fake names, man. Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The vain thing that they've imagined is that they could cast us away and make us just never get our blessing, man. The kings of the earth, which is the elites, right? Like I said, set themselves and the rulers take counsel together, saying against Yahweh, because they're against God when they're doing this too. And against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cause from us, because they know that we're supposed to be ruling the earth. But they're like, nah, fuck that. We're going to rule the earth, and we're going to make the world go in our image, because we don't want to stop eating camel. We don't want to stop being alphabet community livers. We don't want to have to keep Sabbaths, you know? We don't want to have to go on captivity for all the wickedness that we've did to these people. So now we're running from it continually. Verse 4, he that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Right? These people, they've got plans in their mind, and they've analyzed all the different captivities of the Israelites, thinking in doing that, that's going to stop them from having to go into captivity, man. But if they really analyzed it properly, they would know that the main captivity that the Israelites have went into still to this day, right? Egypt, the main salvation that they received anyway, right? Because it's not the main captivity. The main captivity, a worse captivity than that now, really, is the captivity that the Israelites suffered in the Atlantic slave trade, because their nationality was taken away from them in that time. In ancient Egypt, the story of the Exodus, they knew that they were Israelites still, and was able to call upon the Lord. And even though they knew they was Israelites, that captivity still had a duration on it, man. 400 years was the duration, and it wasn't going to last 1 minute longer or 1 minute after that duration that was planned was predestined, man. And to find out the proof on that, go to Genesis the 15th chapter, where Abraham was told that his descendants was going to dwell for 400 years in a land that's not theirs, and there they was going to be treated badly. That's talking about that time. It's not talking about in America now. Let me get this in Judith, because these nations have studied the Israelites, man. They know. The Chinese people know too. They try and act all oblivious, right? And like they don't know what's going on, but they know what's going on, man. This is Judith chapter 5 and verse 17. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. So these nations know this, and they know it still now at the king level, at the chief rulers level, man, right? At the elite level of their nation. This would be the kind of information that among these different nations, it would need to be become unclassified or unclassified to them, man. Or if they start asking certain things, they'll be like, oh, sorry, that's classified information right there. You ain't of a level or rank to know about that kind of stuff. And then once they do enough wickedness and enough madness for whatever they have to do to can be considered trustworthy, they'll start getting revealed. Yeah, they're telling the truth, man. But we can't never let that happen. And you see all them UFO things that they're talking about? That's exactly what they said they are too. Here's the footage to prove it. But people don't want to believe that. They want to just believe that salvation's for everybody. But even based on how people live, they don't act like that's the truth. Verse 19. But now they are returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, right? And have possessed Jerusalem. And that's why these people are scared about us calling ourselves Israelites now. They go into brothers' camps, leaning all hard on the sign, touching a camera tripod when there's literally no need whatsoever to touch the camera tripod. They're leaning all on the sign. Ain't no need to lean on the sign, because they're really hoping that they can break the sign. Or they're trying to test. They're trying to be like, I ain't scared of you guys. I'm a man. So they gotta do some disrespectful behavior to try and confirm and make them believe that that's the truth. Then they want to try and call Pete brothers racist and all of this stuff, as if they ain't racist themselves. I mean, as if you can't see in a video them biting down so hard on their teeth that they're getting veins in the side of their neck and damn lines by their jawbone, man, by their damn mandible bone. You know what I mean? If they're biting down so hard that you could damn see the anger in the side of their head, and then they're reading the scriptures And they're brave to read certain scriptures, but they're not brave to read other ones, man. That's why it's happening. That's why. It's ridiculous. And have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in a hill country, for it was desolate. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And that's why the main thing is to keep the Israelites sinning. This was a Moabite. This was a Moabite that knew this information, right? And you don't really see too many places in the scriptures where Esau ended up getting told this information, right? But Esau knows it too. Esau would have known it long before Moab knew it, right? And Esau, you can see points in the scripture where Esau, through the force of the sword, tried to get the Israelites to stop keeping the laws. One example is the book of Maccabees, man. The things that them Greeks was doing in that, which Greeks is not a real nationality, right? Because when you go to Genesis, the 10th chapter, you don't read nowhere about Greeks. Those people that are calling themselves Greeks in First Maccabees are really Edomites, man. And when you go back to Alexander, he goes back to Macedonians, right? And when you go back to the Macedonians go back to Haman, the Agagite, man. And Agag goes back to Amalek. Let us consider that this shall be their verse 20. Let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let's go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and lest their Lord defend them, and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. And why would they say a statement like that? And we become a reproach before all the world? Because that's what happened in ancient Egypt, man. The Egyptians ended up having a stain on them. And when people started looking at the state of the Egyptians, like, man, what happened here? What happened here? And the answer to that question would have been 10 plagues came through, right? And ruined a once great kingdom. 10 plagues came through, and the final plague filled the land with death of every single one of the firstborn. So if it was a daughter that's the firstborn, she's dead. If it was a son that was the firstborn, she's dead. So if people would have been losing in families that want from that one death, loads of different people of that belong to a certain family would have died. So one man can be a father, right? Could be a son, could be a cousin to another person, right? And a nephew to another person, right? A husband to another person. And in his death, all those people that had that connection to that person would have lost that person, man. Just picture the area that we live in, that you live in, I live in, and just imagine if the firstborn died from every single family there. What if the family only had one child, right? What if? That's a big, heavy plague, man. The firstborn dying of every single family. That's heavy. And it wouldn't have matter. Didn't matter in that time whether you're rich or poor, man. The firstborn was going, whether they liked it or not. And none of the plagues, none of the ways how they was able to make serpents from sticks, none of the things that they was able to copy that Moses was able to do, they wasn't able to copy that. They wasn't able to bring a reap. They wasn't able to bring the firstborn plague on the Israelites. They wasn't able to do that, right? The only way that they had at that time to try and affect the population of the Israelites was to try and get the midwives to kill the Hebrew boys, so that only women would be left, which is deep because Yahweh then started killing some of their boys, man. And that's why all the things that these different nations have did to us, they're going to have to pay for it. And that's why they're running, man. They don't want to have to pay. They know the evil that they've did to us. They know. And they're like, man, nah, I don't want to pay for the things that we've did to these people. You know what stuff we did to them? They don't even know. They're still complaining about this thing, but they don't even know about this thing that we've did to them. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. And the reason why it's spiritually called Sodom is because look at the way our people live in the land of America, man. Look at how they live there. Look at how they live. The most alphabet community place that you're ever going to see in your life. The most, we don't know what genders they are, place you're ever going to see. The most women trying to rule over men. If I'm not mistaken, the Ashley Madison website, which is a website for married people to commit adultery with other married people, that was from America, if I'm not mistaken. And then it's called Egypt because it has the Israelites in slavery in bulk of both tribes, right? Of all the tribes, man. Just like what ancient Egypt had. Ancient Egypt had the Gadites in captivity. Ancient Israel had the Ishakarites in captivity. When we think about that story every now and again, we kind of only put in the Southern Kingdom in our mind some of the time. But it would have been the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that were all in captivity during that time, man. All of us would have been in captivity in them times. All of us would have been made to make those bricks. All of us was being told, you're idle, you're idle. That's why you're mad at the world, which is what people say now. When they see a Hebrew Israelite camp burning out the world, they all come by and ask them what their job is, and tell them to get a job when they ain't even at work themselves. They are literally on the street, just walking around up and down the street themselves, as well as the thousands of other people that are surrounding them. But they'll want you to have a job on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday evening. You know what I mean? It's a joke. And then whether you do or don't have a job doesn't change what's written in the Bible. And whether you do or don't have a job shouldn't matter to none of these people because they ain't going to be getting none of your money anyway. Whether you're rich or poor shouldn't matter to none of these people because all the money that you do or don't have is not going to be getting spent on them. You ain't going to spend 1 pence on them, 1 shekel. You ain't going to spend nothing on them. And they ain't going to spend none of their money on you. But rather than talk about the Bible, they want to try and talk about all these other things because they know they can't find a win when talking about the Bible, man. And yet at the same time, they know that we're in captivity. But then they want to try and talk like we're supposed to be as wealthy as them. But at the same time, if we do have the stuff that they desire to have and they don't have it, they're going to think that something's wrong with the system. Isn't it fascinating? So we're living in a rigged game. So we can't ever win down here anyway, man. Because if you do ever have any of the stuff that this world is supposed to have, they're going to be envious of it. They're going to be covetous of it. And they're going to be coming up with ways to steal it through different laws, man. If you're driving your nice car down the street, the police are always going to want to stop you. And they're going to ask you what you do for a living, right? And then you can tell them what you're doing for a living and it will seem more innocent. But then they're going to be like, damn, that's the 5th N-word this week that's told me that they do this job. We need to make some more strong. And they're going to send a message back to another Edomite. I'm like, man, we need to come up with some ways to fix the ways how they can be getting into these jobs, man. We need to sort that out, man. Because they're getting rich through this shit. You think he's ain't conniving enough to do that? You think he ain't? You think they ain't conniving to do that, man? They're conniving, man. I don't care how nice they're smiling with you in any scenario in this world. They're against you, man. And don't ever start getting gassed up thinking that ain't the case. They're your enemy, man. They're your enemy, fam. Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So if Yahweh Shai was to have been crucified in a place today, right? Let's say the time for him to get crucified was now. He'd be getting crucified in America. He wouldn't be getting crucified in the Vatican, like some people want to say Babylon the Great is. No, he would be getting crucified in America if he was to come back on the earth now. And it was now, that was the time that the Israelites would have been getting crucified, that Yahweh Shai was supposed to get crucified. It would be in America that he would have got crucified, man. Because a Christian will read this and say, nah, I ain't talking about, that's not what it means. Well, okay. Was the Lord Yahweh Shai crucified in Sodom and Gomorrah? Or was he crucified in Egypt? No, he wasn't. The place that's spiritually called those places. He's also got another name spiritually, Babylon the Great. Right? Now, the earthly name that this place has does not matter, because that's not what Yahweh looks at it as. So America can call itself America all it wants. But when Yahweh is looking down from heaven at that place, he's seeing Babylon the Great. He's seeing the door of Babylon. Now, I think I more than made the point, man. Right? I think I more than made the point that these nations have teamed up against the Israelites to try and stop us from being who we are, man. And I'm going to end the lesson there. Shalom. In fact, no, let me go verse 9 as well. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer them to their dead bodies to be put in graves, because once they was able to get our nationality taken away from us and beat out of us, right, and make up fake terms, drapetomania. Oh, if these people don't want to be in slavery, it's because they've got a mental disease. They've got drapetomania. Make up pamphlets, or the African American, the so-called Negroes, these blacks, these colored people, are they humans to get on the ark, that got on the ark, or did they get on the ark as beasts that could mimic human sounds? These were the lengths they was going to, man. These people are not human. These were the lengths they was going to try and stop us from even thinking that the Bible is even any way connected to us. You know? And they went so far as in the antebellum period of America to be saying that they're the new Israelites, and that America was the new land of Canaan. They were saying things like this, but are they saying it now though? No, they're not. So obviously their claim to make that statement was false. But we was also saying that stuff at the same time. We were saying that, no, this is our punishment during that time period. And whose claims stood to the strength of time still? Because now we're still saying it. Now we're still saying it now. And believing even more that we're the Israelites, and have even more understanding to that topic, man, and to that time frame, and to why these things have happened to us and we're not able to escape out of it. Even though we can understand the rules of what's taking place, but the rules continually keep changing to keep us in it until the time that Yahweh don't want us to be in it no more. Verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets who tormented them that dwelt on the earth, which is talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, because they ended up getting a reminder of who these people are again, which they knew this information already. And that's why they got the fear, because they're like, damn, even through all this stuff that we did and how we made this world be against these people in such a way, they still found it out anyway. So now that's even more proof in our mind that Yahweh exists. Other people are going to think that these people are just making it up and that they've just picked up the Bible and they're so disgruntled with the world that they're just lying and saying that they're Israelites. But we know that they really are too. But we don't understand how they was able to figure this information out again, and how they're even bringing out certain things that we know for 100% fact. They're saying these things based on faith, but we know them as fact based on us going to certain of these places and excavating lands. So that's even more proof that Yahweh exists. And how is it that they was able to find out that his name's Yahweh when we've hid certain things in the language? How was they able to know this? We know it for fact, but they're saying that they believe it through certain things that they say, but then also they're saying they believe it through faith. That's the kind of things that's happening behind the scenes that we don't get to see, man. That's the kind of conversation that they're having. Just like how when you read the book of Exodus, the Egyptians was telling Pharaoh, man, just let Moses go, man. Can't you see that Egypt's destroyed? You think that these Edomites ain't telling other Edomites, man, maybe we should just give them reparations. You know what I mean? And stuff, and pacify them that way. And then that's getting shut down. Like we ain't giving them rep or nothing. Oh, but can't you see that our land's destroyed? And they're like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna punish these. We're gonna get these damn Israelites out of here, man. We're gonna give them the Karag, man, and we're gonna rule over them that way. And then it ain't gonna matter whether they know they are or not, because we'll be able to shut them off through our Karagmas that we're gonna have. And those believing ones that talk about how we're gonna get them out of here via the guillotines, man. These are the crazy thoughts they've got in their mind. They're already talking with complete arrogance. We can get the Lord as angry as we want, and he can't do nothing. That's the kind of way they're already talking. Oh, we're self-sustainable now, so we can get the Lord as angry as we want, and he can't do anything against us. That's how they're already speaking like that. But they don't understand that Yahweh had a set time for them to do certain things. Let me see how much time I've done. All right, 26 minutes. I'll do a bit more. Let me get this. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Now that means that there was a certain level of wickedness that they was going to be allowed to do. Right? There was a level of wickedness that they was going to be allowed to take it there with, man. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Because now the wickedness is reached, he's going to have reached that certain point that Yahweh's going to decide. I still personally think that things are going to get more wicked than what we see now, man. With all the stuff that these female teachers are doing in all of these schools, man. Whenever women start expressing their lustful ways in openly like that, man, right? That's when you know that they're trying to legalize something new, man. Because when it came to that alphabet stuff, right, the main women that they kept showing on TV in scenes and all of this stuff and putting it in movies most of the time would have been women, man. Women with women, right? And just like how with this whole school thing, you got all these female teachers going with these teenagers and that, right? It's almost like they're them choosing these teachers that they know that these teachers were gonna do that, man. It's almost like that, man. With how many cases you keep hearing about that. So then soon, because they don't want to cause no judgment to happen to women, they were like, man, why is it that women keep doing this? Why is it that women that are not even ugly keep doing this? And they're gonna make up some excuses and say this, and that, and drop the ages of consent, man. And they're gonna keep dropping it until it gets to that age that's unlawful according to Yahweh. That's what they're gonna do, man. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna bring that, try and legalize that P thing. Right? That's where it's going, man. That's part of the wickedness, the hurtful works that I personally think that they're gonna have to do for the hurtful works to be fulfilled, man. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, because there ain't much more that they can do. Right? There ain't really much more that they can legalize to where you'll be disgusted with these people than that anyway. That's pretty much the last one that they can try and do, man. They've already did everything else. When you look at the alphabet community thing, they already pretty much made everything else be okay. Right? Everything else is pretty much okay, man. They've pretty much said everything, everything. That's pretty much the only one thing that's still taboo in this world. You know? But just like how when the L's and the T's and the B's and the G's became legal, and you've seen all these people come out of the woodwork, right? That's the same thing that would happen if they legalized that letter, right? You'd see all these people start coming out of the woodwork only about a day or a week after. Oh yeah, I'm that. And you'd be like, what? They only legalized it. It ain't even been legal 2 weeks. What do you mean you're that? So you always was then, you demon. That's what it is, man. We're surrounded by death and hell, man. We're surrounded by death and hell, which really, if there was a place that we used to call death and hell, man, that would be America. And that's why it's gonna get thrown in the lake of fire, man. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, man, sighing and crying for all the abominations that be done in the midst of. And people say, oh man, you're just complaining, man. That's what you do, man. You complain. But what are you doing for the black community? That's the kind of dumb way that these people still think, man. They really think that a community is gonna be saved by setting up a leisure center that's got astroturf, right? And a basketball courts mixed combination. Or somewhere that he can make a music album with a live studio on site, an on-site music studio, or somewhere that he can practice English and maths. But then if he was to say, let's make a community center where we learn about the scriptures, oh nah, we ain't really got nothing. Oh nah, man, that's the Edomite man's book, man. That's the white man's book. We can't be going back to no more, going back into them things there. Oh, but what about the laws in there? Maybe we could try and set up a community center to try and make our moral code be like the moral code of the Bible. Nah, man. It says in there you can't eat pork. You know I love pork. You know I love that part there. Well, you don't really want to change them, do you? No, you don't. A community center ain't gonna do nothing because they ain't no community in the first place. There's a bunch of lost people, right, that are rejecting the Lord and thinking that rap music is their culture and twerking. And the only thing that an Israelite woman can show a woman of the other nation is how to shake her funky ass. And then when you talk like this, people want to say, oh, you hate women. You hate women. Yeah, okay, say what you want to say. That don't make it be any less true though, is it? Because even if I decided personally to never make a video again about women ever again, that ain't gonna stop all the other men that are making videos about women. That ain't gonna stop me going on the news and seeing women doing wickedness of every nation. That ain't gonna stop that. Because sometimes when you don't even want to do or even think about things to do with women on a day, right? A news story will come up showing you and reminding you again that women are evil and wicked more than anyone else on the earth. And I don't care what no one says. The Bible will back me up on that belief. That women are more wicked than everyone else on the earth, man. The Bible backs you up on that if you believe that. So you don't have to be scared to believe that, man. The Bible backs us up on that belief. Verse 9, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which he's talking about America, which is spiritually Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and I will smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Now people will say, nah, I ain't talking. So okay, so then you're telling me that the land of Egypt has got more Israelites in right now than any other land. But even according to you people trying to say that those people in the land of Israel are Israelites, right? Are there more of those people in Egypt? Or are there more of those people in America? Or are there more of those people in the land of Israel right now? Even among who you say the Israelites are. What are you saying to that? If you want to say, no, nah, I ain't talking about America. He says Egypt there, what are you talking about? Can't you read? You're illiterate. Okay. Say whatever you want to say, man. But when you, based on who you think the Israelites are, where are they most? You tell us. Verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues before, and destroy the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. And that's what's getting ready to happen, man. Right? That's what's getting ready to happen. The captivity of the Israelites is getting ready to end, man. And all the studies of these different nations to try and keep us in captivity are going to fail. Right? And I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakak, Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.